Welcome everyone to Generation Dan, the only podcast where smoking is still cool because you're French. I'm Atlas Novack. I'm your millennial. Who else is here with me?
I'm Dino, the genetic marvel, who still thinks smoking is cool. And our guest today is Reagan Jay, a local comedian from the Greater Toronto area. Welcome, Reagan. How are you, sir?
Extremely hungover and just enjoying being in the bed on this podcast.
I mean, that is totally reasonable. Yeah,
that's one of the best parts about this being what's it called? Not in the same room as each other. Remote. Thank you.
It would be a little awkward if I was just sitting here in my underwear with you guys.
Yeah.
Also, wouldn't be the first time that's happened. It's not. Yeah, like
I mean, I'm in my pajamas. Like, it's not completely, out of pocket to be in bed doing this.
I mean, listen, but the idea where, I have to get all fancy just to talk shit with some friends seems a little ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
I want to be in my underwear, have a drink close by, those are all reasonable things.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I was doing Nexus at Night, my other show on Friday nights on the Nexus at Night YouTube channel, and I was getting drunk as we were doing that because I am in my own home. God damn it!
Like, look, that's the one thing that I think has changed is that, like, throughout history, home has been where that's where I sleep and I'm safe at night. But the rest of the day, I'm out doing things with people, work, whatever you may do. But now it's like, I'd rather stay at home. That's where all my stuff is. I like it. I paid for all these groceries, so I'm going to eat them.
It turns out we lost the concept of Cheers and where everybody knows your name once Instacart became a thing.
Yeah. I also feel like as well, like I honestly like drinking alone at home. Some people are like, that's so bad. I'm like, no, I get to listen to my own music. If I overserve myself, I just go to bed. I don't have to worry about a cab, worry about getting home, insulting the server. My server's my wife, she's gonna get offended regardless.
That's absolutely fair.
And then I just go to bed,
I mean, listen, that's reasonable.
My brother-in-law is trying to get my wife and I to go to this wine bar in downtown LA. And to those who don't live in LA, downtown is like, don't drive in downtown unless you have to. Take the train or the bus. That's where most of the public infrastructure is. And I was asking him, he's like, I don't know, I didn't take it. I'm like, what's wrong with you? It's a wine bar. Like, I don't want to have to drive to a bar and then figure out, okay, do I, Uber back or just the ability to go, I'm wasted, I'm taking the train home is the reason it's there partially.
I mean, what's up, Kaz?
I love
Angel
hi?
Show. Hi. Yes, you can say hi and a hi to you too. Listen, that idea. Okay, Reagan, you're younger than I am by quite a bit. Is
he like the midpoint between you and me, Dino?
I'm 39. I just
39. Are you really? God, I hate you so much.
Yeah,
let's be very clear.
He's an elder millennial then.
Yeah,
I'm an elder millennial. Yep.
Yeah.
This is the funny thing is
the less whiny ones.
Reagan has been doing stand-up comedy at a place that I have been going to for years, and we crossed paths and we started joking. And hilariously, through the stories that he's told, I've found that we have many similarities that make me laugh incessantly. One of those, and this is the funny thing, is that that place actually just got sold and is changing into another place. So the open mic that we'd go to is gone. But hilariously, the last day. Okay, because Reagan has gone on record saying about how he used to work down on Bay Street. Bay Street is essentially the financial core, and that would be like, it's a big deal. And it is a big deal, no question, right? Like, Wall Street to New York would be Bay Street to Toronto. Okay,
okay, gotcha.
Now,
perfect analogy.
I was a financial planner, then I was a financial consultant. Both times, the closest to downtown I ever got was Midtown. I never got all the way downtown. Okay, but regardless, hilariously, is that the last day I was going to bring it up and joke about it. However, I'm wearing like just casual clothes, and Reagan came in a full suit, and I'm like, God damn it! You know, every fucking time
Like
I try and make a point. Yeah, no, and I'm like, I look like a homeless person, and he's like, I'm in a suit, and I'm like, God, I can't do the joke now, you bastard. But it's very funny.
It's coming, buddy.
It's only a matter of times. This is the thing is, at the same time, when I worked in a bank and wearing like a 3-piece suit with cufflinks and the whole thing, people still would come up and be like, "You don't work here." I'm like, "I do work here." They're like, "You look like a murderer."
Yeah, but
like,
you look like
up
that.
nice when I actually clean up nice when I actually have to look professional. But yeah, normally I enjoy working where I work. I can look like a disheveled piece of shit, and it's okay. It's absolutely okay where I work.
Yeah,
I did a similar thing with like as a teacher where I look like a hobo.
Yeah,
you know, but the dad sweater does a lot of work. So like plain t-shirt, dad sweater buttoned up. It gets across okay, I think.
Listen, I think that's a stigma that I am enjoying is slowly disappearing. The idea that, well, if you're going to work, you have to wear a suit, or you don't have to wear a uniform. And you're like, you know what? Be happy I'm in clothing.
Pandemic to thank for that, I think.
I need a little bit, right? But it's like, listen, be happy I'm clothed and I haven't murdered. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that should be happy enough. Like that's.
I worked at a call center in New Brunswick before I moved abroad, and they literally had a professional, like you had to have professional attire. And I was like,
oh fuck you!
Nobody sees us. What the fuck kind of thing? It never made any sense. I was just like, and then I'd have to go to Walmart and buy these like bullshit professional clothes, and I wanted to wear like a T-shirt that said like "fuck you" and die, and like anytime I wore that, I would literally get written up, and it was just like I remember one time I had a shirt. It was one I wore in high school. It said "fat kids are harder to kidnap," and I had to take that off. I had to turn it inside out on casual day because it was offending fat people, I guess.
Like, I mean, like,
I'm fat as fuck.
Hey, they're fat. It's not like they can chase you down. Who cares? It's fine. Get over it. Exactly. Hi, Victoria. What's up, Taco Man?
I know the call center life. I used to work for the Alumni Association when I was in college. We were we know you're drowning under a pile of student debt. Would you like to donate to the university? Like, just
the place you already gave thousands upon thousands of dollars, and we promised the good of sale that has turned out to be bullshit. We'd like some more of your money. You're like, why?
Yeah, this is why most of the alumni we called graduated in like the 70s and 80s, and we knew they were like more better off. But the funnier part was like it was the only job that I've worked at where I've sought a promotion purely out of spite. Which is like, I want to move up in the ranks so I don't have to call people anymore. Please.
I think that's every job though. Everyone is looking for promotion so they don't have to deal with the people that their job entails them dealing with.
Yeah. It's like, I only have to deal with the people I work with. Yes, please promote me.
And the people I worked with weren't too bad. It was like my fellow students. They were nice people.
They weren't, but that's fine.
Except for this one girl who, like, we would just get in arguments all the time. Your name is in my pilot, by the way, in my TV pilot, as a character. That person.
Reagan Jay? Oh
no, like the person. No, the person.
Oh, the person. Oh,
yeah. I don't want to say her name because it's not a very common name, and I feel like that's
you don't want to give them any more praise than they deserve.
Exactly.
We are talking about stigmas. Stigmas that have disappeared. So hey. The idea, I remember actually, you know what? Here's a little secret for everybody. If for some reason you're at work and you're not wearing the proper outfit. So I got this because I was working at a call center at the end of my career in a bank. And I walked in wearing jeans and I was like, I was the fattest I'd ever been. It was the worst time of my life. And they were like, hey, you're not supposed to wear jeans. And I'm like, they're the only pants that I have that fits. And all of a sudden the conversation was like, oh, I'm very sorry. I'm like, that's good. And I just walked away and I'm like, bro, you never seen someone eat their words faster when you're like, these are the only pants that fit. I'm going through a crisis. And people go, I don't want nothing to do with that. And then just walk away.
It's kind of like getting out of a DUI. You have a guy, cop who's like, hey, are you slurring your speech? And I'm an East Coaster. So I'm like, no, man, this is just the way I talk. And then they go, oh okay, sir, you have a good night. Really,
have a great night. And you're like, yeah, thank you.
I'm just joking.
Victoria says your cat is so cute. Yeah.
Because like I have kind of a marble mouth.
Yeah.
So they're like, are you slurring your speech? I'm like, this is just the way I talk, man. And he goes, Okay, and then that was it.
Yeah,
Hey.
exactly.
Because like as I was going, I'm like,
really
this
not
is just the
trying
way
to
I
give
talk,
people
right?
advice how to, get out of a DUI.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I've had it where people are like, "You're not moving very fast," and I look at them, I'm like, "I'm the size of 3 people in a suit.
I
What
will
do you
eat
want?"
you.
Yeah, and you're just like, "That's a fair excuse," and I'm like, "What are you gonna do?"
I am the refrigerator Perry of this DUI charge right now. Can you please not call me that? I agree with wearing business attire for work if you work in a white collar role. It sets the tone for the wearer in the company. Fuck you, Victoria. Sorry. I think suits need to go let me finish. I think suits need to go the way of the corset. They are unnecessary, uncomfortable. They look stupid, and Beau Brummel can rot in hell for all I care. He's the guy who's like made suits the way they are.
You're not getting the right suits, my dude. I'm just saying.
No,
like I love my suits.
Suits are associated with politicians and lawyers, and fuck them both.
That's the problem.
Like suits.
That's what I used to be.
Suits are super comfortable for me. Like I grew up wearing a suit. And I'm like, I have never I feel comfortable in a suit just because everything is layered. It's very nice and presentable. The problem is that is
touched a nerve.
No. It's the problem is
Sorry,
Victoria's like, oh my God, Atlas. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's the bigger thing is that why are we forcing everyone to wear a suit when you should be like 2 or 3 degrees away from the common public before you should have to wear a suit?
2 or 3 degrees away, meaning like with each other or with the public? I'm confused.
So if you're dealing with the public, you should be able to wear common clothes so you can run away and they'll never catch you. I think that's right.
I was
talking to some guy.
He had the same idea.
Honestly, they let you. I know this is going to sound awful, but like wearing a suit, it's really thin fabric, and they don't make you put on the house pants at the strip club when you go to the strippers. Wearing a suit, just bring that. If you wear sweat,
get a little extra taste. Yeah,
when
that's
you go
fair.
to the strip club, they'll put on. They have these like pairs of jeans. They're like oversized and they fit pretty much everybody. But if you have like really little, like thin pair of pants or shorts on, they make you put on a pair of house jeans. But if you wear a suit, you don't have to do that. So
that says a lot.
There's another benefit of wearing a suit.
Yeah, if I'm paying for a dance, I want my wiener to feel it. I think that's only reasonable.
And these cotton canvas jeans just they just don't have the same feel.
They ruin it for everybody. That's fair. I see. Okay, yeah. Victoria's like, I used to wear a uniform in school and I loved it. That's number one.
I had uniforms in elementary school and I hated them. So that's probably a
I never wore uniforms. I was too poor and in public school.
Oh, you know what? The idea of a uniform in and of itself bothers me. Even now, like people have been like, "Oh, have you like?" I've been considering applying just to regular jobs and stuff like that. And I'm like, my one thing is, I'm like, I don't mind dealing with stupid people. I don't mind dealing with the public because I've had to dumb down my entire life to deal with the public. It's more so I want to be able to wear my own clothes because I'm comfortable in my own clothes. I'm not comfortable in your clothes, because your clothes are not made for someone my size ever.
Yeah. See,
right?
Like I work at Canada Post and we get a uniform and I'm really glad I don't have to wear my clothes to get destroyed.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
that's where I'm at with it. But like, yeah, you're right. The uniform, it doesn't fit right. I'm always a little bit too big of a body for the clothing. So it's always like, I got longer arms. The length of my body, like it never fits, even though they're like, oh, we tailor it to fit. And I was like, yeah, you fucking don't.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I think it's also like, okay, if the uniform serves a purpose, example, scrubs, right? You work in a hospital, blood, guts, viscera, scrubs. That makes sense. I understand what that is for. It's different for when you're like, oh, because it looks nice. You're sitting in an office chair for 8 hours doing whatever. Like, what does it matter? The mailman thing, again, makes sense because it's a functional purpose, right? You don't want your clothes to get destroyed.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, I'm okay with like uniforms if they serve a purpose. But for most white-collar jobs, they're just like, oh, because whatever. Like, it doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
Listen, there are sides to everything. And when you think about realistically, when it comes to wearing a uniform, like I'll explain one thing that you guys should understand is that when it comes to Reagan, it's 100% accurate that like uniforms won't fall, because I'll show you his build. I have a picture. This is Reagan's build. This is basically how he looks in real life.
He's got real. Well, you said his arms were long too, so I'm imagining like
they're not. His legs are ridiculously long, and he's just got a round. He looks like a lollipop that has two sticks instead of one stick.
If you're going to give me a comparison, if you've ever seen Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall, like
yes,
you know, like those teachers with the long, yeah, that's me, man. I'm all leg, big body.
Also, he gives off the vibe of, even though it's snowing, he's like, it's great weather, I'm wearing shorts, and you're like, I'm gonna punch you right in the face. 100%.
I deliver mail in shorts until like the second week of December, and then once a good cold comes in, I'm like, all right, it's time to put on pants.
That's the line.
I'm one of those white dudes.
Well, listen, did you grow up in the East Coast, or
yeah,
that explains it. Yeah, you're not used to living indoors and not, using cars instead of dog sleds. That's fair. You're more used to the outdoor. Listen, I've never even been to the East Coast, so I don't know what the fuck I'm
It's
talking
so
about.
funny how people like from like Upper Canada. Sorry.
Upper Canada?
I called it. You guys are Upper Canadians.
Yeah.
That's what we call anyone from like Quebec or Ontario. We're like, oh, you Upper Canadians.
Yeah.
But it's so funny when you talk to people who've never been to like the Maritimes or East Coast Canada. They treat it like it's like JLL Tolkien's like Lord of the Rings. So like, oh, such a whimsical place.
Yes.
Oh yes. Oh my God, you have the little elven people from Nova Scotia. It's like,
the terrible French accent I was doing at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you guys are so friendly. You guys are the nicest people ever. It's like, man, fucking meet a guy who's just lost bad on the VLTs on a Monday night. Then you'll really see the true character of East Coast.
Also true. All right, hold on. Okay, so the uniform is for optics and for brand identity. We're going to believe a psychologist who is wearing booty shorts and a crop top. I mean, most men will listen.
I'd be more receptive to a psychologist.
Now I need to ask my therapist if he can wear booty shorts and a crop top to my next session and see if that does anything. Or male bank teller wearing a tie-dye t-shirt and a banana hammock. Again, you're kind of like stretching the truth there. T-shirt, jeans, I'm cool with it. Like,
I don't know, man. I kind of want the banana hammock guy.
I would wait for the banana hammock teller. I'm just throwing it out there.
Especially if like my package looks.
We have the check stubs from separate
I just
accounts.
Feel more confident getting in line,
I mean, yeah. Well, then you can gauge and you'll be like, I have nothing to wear with this guy. I'm going to deal with him. Yeah. Name a country
we're all on the same consensus.
The country is Kyrgyzstan. Best of luck, Asia. Asian, whatever. What is this? This is the internet, John. If you haven't
to the internet, John.
Yeah. If this is your first day, it's going to get uncomfortable really quick.
Yeah.
Just be an observer for the first 24 hours, sir.
It's literally porn, bud. It's literally porn. Just
basically. Until you get here, and then it's just three dudes looking at you.
So the original idea I had for this episode was like the idea of smoking as a social activity. What do you call it exactly? A habit, a vice?
It is a vice. I would also compare it to a social activity because, like, listen, have a couple drinks and everybody becomes a smoker. It's just there's a very big social environment and element to it.
Cigarette companies had their greedy little hooks into Americans for the better part of the 20th century.
Yes.
And only since the 90s has the concept of smoking stopped being cool. And instead you get weed taking over in the 2000s. That was when I was in middle and high school. You had a lot of stoner kids still, but the smoker kids, that wasn't a thing.
No.
Because I think there was enough of the this is, look at the black tar lung, just the horrible, your uncle has lung cancer or whatever. But weed was new and interesting enough, not new, but you know what I mean, not as stigmatized. And
wow.
Then now we have the vape pen, which isn't as stigmatized as it should be because let's be honest, it looks fucking stupid.
And it smells like mango cotton candy, which you're like, what the fuck is happening right
it's
now?
It's a total douche flute. I call it the douche flute. And that's what I call people who vape.
Douche flute. That's good. I like it.
Is
Now
this live? Yes,
live.
it is,
Yes,
Albert.
it is.
It is live.
Yeah.
It's a bad habit. How dare you? Where's Joe Rogan? Technically, if you combine all of our faces into one, Joe Rogan just appears on the screen.
Take like 40 pounds off.
This is the worst version of Captain Planet I have ever seen.
I would do it, perhaps. It's fine.
With our powers combined.
Every time I see weed, I still think of Cheech and Chong. That's fair.
I think that's show.
Okay, but this is the one thing that you guys, a lot of people, I dropped into this live by mistake. What's it all about? We're talking about stigmas and how they've changed, sir.
Okay, so like the show overall, we're a podcast about generational differences. I'm a millennial. Dino's a Gen Xer. Our guest is an elder millennial, but it can be people of all different ages.
Yeah. But he looks really young, so you gotta. I would have beat him up on the
That's true. Reagan and I look like we could be the same age, and I'm 31.
I know.
I know. I'm 39. If I shave this off, I could go back to high school.
See, this is the other thing is I've been tempted because I'm like, my beard makes me look older, no question, right? But if I shave my beard, you know how old people shave their beards, and then you're like, oh, you look old still, and I'm like, oh no, it's backfired because right now, if I shave my beard, I usually look like 10 years younger, but. Reagan looks like the Canadian Cole. I mean, there's an argument.
He does.
He does a little bit. Cole is the one I do the cooking shows. I asked Reagan, I'm like, hey, are you free tomorrow to do a podcast? He's like, as long as it's not cooking. And I'm like, no problem. That's fine. Yeah. So John is Gen X. He's 50. Do you think men wearing T-Rex t-shirts as adults is stigmatized too much or not enough?
T-Rex the band?
Well, I don't think so. I think just T-Rexes in general because everybody loves a good dinosaur. I actually have a sweater somebody bought me for Christmas. That's a T-Rex that says, if you're happy and you know it, clap your and it's got a T-Rex with his hands like, and I'm like, listen, it's just part of life.
I don't know, like my
T-Rex the dinosaur.
I don't wear it, but like my father-in-law for some reason thinks like every Christmas he gets me like the worst gift ever every year, and it's fucking great. Don't get me wrong.
On purpose or like
no. He legitimately thinks he's getting me the coolest fucking gift ever, and I'm like, oh my god! And I sit there like this year he gave me a silkscreen shirt of a black and white guitar on fire. And anytime you would ask me a question, I'd do like a solo on my shirt. But what's up, bud? Like he just
that's sweet.
You know what?
One year he gave me like a quadruple XL poncho, so I could hang out. I could hang out in front of an LCBO and grift for money. Like it was great. I don't know why he buys me these gifts.
Victoria says, Reagan, your father-in-law is passive aggressive.
I mean, is that what it is? I'm starting to think he's like, man, maybe. Why did you marry my daughter? You piece of shit.
I mean, see, I think every father, whether they like you or not, it's their job to be that way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like,
my father-in-law is the same way. By the way, he's very just kind of like.
He's such a chill dude. I love him.
Yeah,
but like, man,
he's a chill dude, but he's a goofball, right?
If his life was to save him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He's a goofball. I thought he was doing the thing when you said the T-Rex, like, where you have something associated with you, like dachshunds, and then everybody gets you dachshund stuff forever. No. Same thing with like Katie. Katie has that with hippos. People get her hippo stuff. Katie's my wife.
I'd feel insulted.
My father-in-law is in heaven. That's either a good thing or a very bad thing.
Listen.
Yeah, my dad died on my wedding day, so I totally got.
Dude, what happened? If you don't mind me asking,
Albert has. Hold on, before we do that, Albert has a thing. I wore one to the bar and got shit for it. People calling me names like toddler boy, etc. Okay, are you over 5 feet, Albert? I need to know. Continue now. You said your dad died on your wedding day?
Yeah, totally.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Yeah. I know, it was like I call it the happiest and the saddest day of my life. But yeah, that totally happened.
Damn.
At least now I can joke about it.
Expected or unexpected?
Completely unexpected. We knew his health wasn't great. And my wife actually like got married in my home province because she wanted to make sure my dad was there. And goes and pulls that shit. Like, what the fuck?
What a jerk! Yeah,
try
no,
to
that's
take over
fine,
my
yeah.
day. You know, it was my day, asshole.
I mean, yeah. Every time you're like, you selfish bastard. Yeah, that's fair.
Thanks, Dad. I have to cry on my wedding day every anniversary for the rest of my life because of you, asshole. You know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You know what? That's weird because like I've always heard. I know when I was working at the bank, there was a big thing where it's like after Christmas and New Year's, everyone was on edge just because people hold out for those times. And you're like, bro, a wedding? I've 100% seen that where people are like, yeah, they lasted like 3 days after the wedding and that's it. And you're like, fuck. You're like, oh, that's a memory that's always tainted. Thank you for that. That's really, yeah. I don't get along with him, but he passed 2 years ago. I mean, that's fair. I don't think.
I'm
do
sorry.
You guys think you should be friends with your father-in-law? I don't think you should be friends with your father-in-law. I think you should be polite and friendly. But
I have a very good friendship with my father-in-law. He just can't get me a gift worth the life of him. Like, if he got me the nice gift, he'd probably die the same day. So I'm just hoping now he doesn't, get me a good gift ever.
See, now, my father-in-law and my actual dad are pretty friendly. If you want to see more about that, the Aspen Chronicles.
Yes, please check those out.
This show, there is a playlist on our YouTube channel with it's him and some of his friends from when he lived in Aspen in the 70s, and it is coke-fueled and ridiculous. But
yeah, they had awesome drugs. And also, why did you want a different future? Let me ask that to all boomers out there. Is like, listen, you got the 70s, and then you're like, you know what? All this sex and drugs? No. We need to tighten our laces. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
That was the worst possible move.
Swear. No.
You ruined it for everybody. And now you have losers who are like, yeah, I'm a marijuana connoisseur. And you're like, gross. That's
exactly. That's what my in-laws are. They just like have weed gummies in the house now. Like,
see, this is okay.
Yeah.
How old were you guys when you smoked your first joint? I
was 16.
18 or 19.
Okay. So like, so you guys understand, right? Like, last year, the year before, I went to Mexico and we went to like I went with friends for some business stuff and we were in a non-touristy city. And the whole thing was that it's like, you either are a criminal or you don't do drugs. Like those were the two divides because in Mexico, there are cartels and stuff, right? So it's like, if you do drugs, you're a criminal. If you don't do drugs, you're not a criminal. Like that was like a hard line for people where like, I'm like, does anyone smoke weed? Or they're like, no.
Well, is this like the thing when I was in Japan with the tattoos? If you have tattoos, you're Yakuza. Like that?
So
Or shaved head in China. My buddy who was Chinese. He's like, my dad hates that I have a shaved head because he thinks I'm a criminal.
Yeah,
weird.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, the one thing. Like I've done this joke on stage a
white
few
person
times.
Safe Mexico, not Mexico.
He wants a white person safe.
Joey.
No, I went to Mexico, not white person safe Mexico. Yeah, no, it was definitely. That was the wild thing was that you could see people freaking out in their cars from getting cut off and shit like that. Like they were angry, but nobody honked their horn. That was keep your anger to yourself because you might die. So just like, which I'm like, I respect that because I've had people get angry and then try and get in my face, and I look down at them. I'm like, who are you getting angry at? They're like, sorry, I didn't realize. I'm sorry. And you're like, good. I'm glad you realize now. Run away. It's like
when I step out of my car. Most of the time, if somebody's like road raging at me and I step out of my car, they take off. It's like, all right, well, I am 6'4" and 250 pounds. So yes,
when you look like you are the Lollipop Guild, not representing the Lollipop Guild, are the Lollipop Guild.
Yeah,
they just turned into Voltron. He was like,
exactly. I'll get it. I always feel like that guy off The Simpsons. It's like, are you making fun of the size of my automobile? And then I get out of the car and they're like, oh, shit.
I've always felt that way. Yeah. No longer smoke. I still smoke. I was 11ish. John was 16. These are all times you smoked. Okay. My question was you remember who were the dopers in school? And you're like, those guys do drugs and stuff. Right.
Yeah.
But like now, especially in Canada, the United States, where weed is, you can just go to the store and buy it. Like, they just closed a bunch of stores, but up until recently, you could go, like, there was a store called Fun Guys where you could just go buy mushrooms. And like,
Yeah,
I don't mean like
places
enoki and like button mushrooms. I mean like, let me see Jesus mushrooms.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, so it's like
watching the shadows from my mirror dance on the walls of mushrooms.
It's like back in
and
the
then
day
come to
when,
real
like,
life and attack me. I had to fight them.
It's like back in the day when like the head shops and like the smoke shops would have salvia, and like nobody really knew what salvia was, and then all of a sudden you're like smoking it, and you're like living 6 months of your life in 15 minutes.
That's fair.
I used to work at a weed dispensary back when it was still medicinal here in California, and they had salvia. We didn't sell it a lot, but they had it. Also, the managers were idiots and ran it into the ground. R.I.P. Greenberry. But
how do you run that, bro? That's like up here, like they legalize weed and they've been losing money. You're like, how do you lose money selling drugs? Like that is the dumbest shit.
I think the big thing
put any government in private enterprise is really what it
was.
is.
So far out of the way that like for someone to come across it. Also, it didn't look like anything from the outside.
Really, what do you want? Like a giant guy in a leaf costume going, hey, everybody, it's right here. Right?
Maybe something that wasn't like a crappy like sign that said Greenberry that was really small to read and you couldn't really see it from the curb.
Can we just address this comment here? I once won a bottle of rosé at a raffle in school at 10 years old.
Drank it in the woods and vomited my soul.
What fucking school would literally
number one, that's an awesome
school.
Let's start there.
This had to have been it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are?
It had to be that generation for sure.
Well, okay.
Your Gen X's.
Also, too, rosé, like champagne, if you drink it and throw up, your vomit looks very weird.
Crazy.
I'm just it and if it's really old champagne, it kind of glows. Like I've never experienced the champagne one. I have experienced other ones, and I'll tell you, it's an experience. Hold on, let me see here. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Mexico, not Hector Gustavo Mexico. I mean, it was kind of Hector Gustavo Mexico, not Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Golf players, not potheads. What?
You look like golf players, not potheads. You would think that, but ultimately, you'd be wrong. We are all well-adjusted people, but with a penchant for shenanigans. So
so. With stigma, like for example, the whole like weed thing, that was slowly going away when I was in middle and high school. If you told my dad now, who like just takes weed for his Parkinson's and quite enjoys it because he's retired, like if you told him in 2004 that he was going to be a stoner when he was older, his head would have exploded.
Yeah, especially since he was like a real doctor.
Yeah, a similar thing happened with my in-laws where like they just didn't do weed because it wasn't legal, and then once it was legalized, they're like, "Oh, it's fine."
See that in and of itself bothers me more because that's that whole idea of we were just it was legal, so it shouldn't be a problem. But you're like, no, that's not how that works. You everything okay, Reagan?
Sorry. Yeah, my daughter came in. She's like, "Look, Dad, I just got this." I was like, "Oh, this is great. That's awesome."
You want nothing to do with this child? That's fair.
It's equating like morality with law, which you really shouldn't do necessarily, but people do that sometimes.
I'm like, and this is the thing is like, I am a firm believer that there's a time and a place for everything, right? Like even now when I do mushrooms, I make sure that I'm like, everything's taken care of. Nobody needs me. I'm out for 6 to 8 hours. Don't come talk to me because you're not going to be seeing me. You're going to be
I
sitting.
also learned I need someone in the room with me because after last time after I left, I was like, this is kind of a lonely experience without someone here. I need someone to talk to.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I know that for next time.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the last time I did mushrooms, I was at my brother-in-law's cottage and up in Buckhorn, like Quartha Lakes kind of thing.
Yeah,
and it was awesome. We literally put on like Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd, and all I remember, like the biggest remembrance was like the music was trippy, but like, they had like a duck on the wall, like a picture of a duck in water that's like, and that duck was swimming, bro. That duck was swimming.
Yeah, something's moving. Cool. Yeah.
All right.
Either the dunk on my friend's ceiling, the shadows on the wall, something's moving. Always.
The worst is when you see Jesus and you're like, and you're going to hell and like you've taken way too many mushrooms. Like,
okay, that hasn't happened to me before.
I have yet to take too many. Normally, I take 7 grams and then just lie in bed and disappear, and it's great. But yeah.
What I'm wondering is if smoking is no longer the way to like look cool, right? Dude with the cigarette automatically looks cooler, but not anymore. What's the like thing? What's the thing that if you are doing something you're like vaguely sticking it to the man and it makes you look cool? I've yet to see that with my students or anything. I don't think
tax evasion.
I mean, yeah, tax evasion would be up there. That's fair.
But you don't have like a symbol for tax evasion. There's no like, behold my W-2s. Like that's not.
I mean, listen, being young and dressing like a douchebag seems to be the popular thing these days. But okay,
I mean, we all did.
Yeah, Joey says I can't believe Atlas is missing the Daytona 500 for this. I mean, that's fair.
Not really.
Underestimate somebody could put you in danger. See, this is the thing, John. Is I'm 6'2" and 270 pounds, and I have what my wife has explained to me is a resting murder face. I'm never worried about that. Like I walk in place and I'm like, "Hi, everyone." And everyone's like, I'm like, or not, whatever. My dad.
Yeah, the difference between my giant ass is I come in like a statesman, and people are like, "Oh, hey, oh yeah." So I don't know. I don't have resting murder face. I guess.
No, you don't. You have resting fun guy face, which is very annoying to me. It makes me want to punch you. But
that's why we get along so well, Dino.
I mean, yeah, we're both there for a good time, make people laugh, and at the same time, it'd be hilarious if somebody started something. It'd be great. My dad was a pothead. I feel like that's a moment when you realize that you're like, wait, I could be smoking a joint with my own father. Like that would have been awesome. And then you're like, oh no.
Honestly, having my friend's dad was a massive pothead when we were growing up, and I remember all the times I go over to my buddy's house to go smoke weed, and his weed was gone, and his dad stole his weed. Smoked it on him, and
it's like the opposite of stealing from your parents.
Hey man, like, did you take my weed? Like, because it was so taboo back then, right? So, and then I remember years after, he'd be like, "Man, you guys had some good weed growing up." I'm like, "Fuck you, dad!" Like my friend's dad, like, "You asshole." He's like, "Oh yeah, man, I smoked all your weed whenever I found it. I knew your stash places." Like he told us years after when we're drinking like whiskey with him at like a campfire, and he's like, "I fucking loved your guys' weed. Like whoever your dealer was, I wish I could tell you guys."
I love that this is like the inverse of the like steal vodka from the parents' liquor cabinet and replace
fill it with water trope.
Exactly. Yeah, like it turned it on its head where it's like my dad just kept stealing my weed. Like imagine going to a party, what you open the box, there's nothing there.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like,
my dad took my weed.
Let's play some NBA,
like he confiscated it. No, he just
edition. You know, it was like, oh, no weed.
But there's nothing better than that one story where a girl was like, "Oh, I'm on hard times, and now I have this party to go to," and the dad's like, "Hey, grab that bottle of vodka," and she was like, "Oh, okay," and then she realized it was the vodka that she refilled with water in high school, so she's like, "Bro, joke's on me. I got
circle of life, man."
I mean,
circle of life.
I feel like this is something, John, though. He could smoke and it was like he had no effect. You get to a point like that, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but like it's the same thing with a lot of things, right? Like if you do it too much, then it just stops doing what it was just his way. Like, yeah, I'm in Glasgow in the 90s, not sure they handed it over to me. Oh, bro.
This same guy further down is talking about how he got busted by an undercover cop. And I just need to know how good.
Now that he said that he lived in Scotland, it totally makes sense. So they would like, instead of giving him a bottle of whiskey at recess, they give him a bottle of rosé. Just kind of like.
Well, bro. Okay, so this is the thing: is anything under 14% was considered a soft drink in Russia up until like 4 years ago, and then they're like, "Oh, well, it's got alcohol. We should still qualify it as something else." You're like, "No, it was either booze or not booze." You're like, pop. Energy drink, beer. Yeah, that's all the same. Basically, it's no different. It's weed is nothing. Opioids. That's 100% sure.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Seeing Trump salute at Daytona is hilarious. I can imagine, sir.
Not watching.
Don't do shrooms. Okay. I do shrooms, and they're so much fun. Water moving on picture is when they are kicking in. That's also true. Yeah.
Watch the shadows. I'm a drinking guy. All right.
I enjoy drinking as well, John, but mushrooms. See, this thing is, I don't do mushrooms. Like, do you get high when you do mushrooms? Sure. Do I do mushrooms to get high? Absolutely not. I do mushrooms to
have an experience,
solve my own issues of the brain. That's so true. I once smoked some lemon haze and done mushrooms after a tooth extraction. Then, for some reason, watched Pitch Perfect and thought Anna Kendrick needed me, but couldn't swim out in my bed. I mean, that sounds like a great time, Albert.
When you were watching the cup scene, what was going through your head, right?
Blasting a rail of the new cigarette smoking. No, I don't think so.
Because Coke is not cool anymore. Like this, I think it's because Donald Trump Jr. specifically is really into it, and like he's clearly coked out during a lot of the speeches where he's like, "You guys, Trump is awesome." Like it's
270 is 320 American pounds. You wish, Joey. Joey has a scale that doesn't work for anybody but himself, the bastard. You have an advantage, big guy, but I'm saying crazy people. Oh yeah, no, I understand that, John. It's more so that no, like realistic cannabis smokers aren't starting a fight, right? Cannabis smokers are more so just like, hey man, have you heard the craziness out there? And you're like, no, I haven't smoked stoner. Just tell me, that's fine.
They can be a little annoying sometimes, but they're fine. It's not that big of a deal.
I find people who are drunk more annoying than somebody who's high. Because someone who's high, I can grab them, sit them down, and go, hey, I need you to sit down or I'm going to break your face. And they go, oh, okay. Whereas if you say that to a drunk person, like, you think you could? And I'm like, I know I can because my fist is bigger than your entire cranium.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of like when you're talking to someone who's like really on the autism spectrum, and you kind of just need to be blunt with them where you're like, hi, I'm having a serious conversation over here. I would love to talk with you about Pokemon at some point, but right now I need to focus on this. They go, oh, okay. And then that's it.
Okay. So this is the thing though, is that like, I don't mind having that with anyone. Be like, hey, I'm really enjoying this conversation, but I got to do something. Can we pick this up a little bit later? And some people are like, oh, okay, fine. And you're like, why is that an issue? You're like, I'm in the middle of something, but I want to have this conversation. So like, I find that the idea of telling somebody when a conversation is over isn't a big deal. I think that's reasonable. I've messed with Coke, expensive habit. That is for sure. I was
it's only expensive if you don't have the right people around you. That's all I gotta say. I've done my fair share of cocaine back in the day.
Cocaine.
Yeah,
that's what they call it. You ever watch the movie the Johnny Cash one with John C. Reilly, Walk Hard?
Yeah, that one I've seen.
That's why I call it cocaine. Cocaine that's what he goes.
Shit, I will start a fight for no reason. Yeah, it's like, listen, if people are drunk, they will start a fight for no reason. That's why I don't do that. Trump is wearing an autographed Trump hat. I mean, as he should. If you could get autographed your own merch, I would definitely autograph my own merch and wear it.
Me too. He's sending this stuff to the group chat too, Dino, so we can kind of just ignore Joey talking about it. Like,
is it just me, or is garlic bread the ultimate food to eat when high as a kite? I mean, I feel like they're
garlic bread. I always want like a burger or something.
Starburst, man. If you're stoned, Starburst is where it's at.
Also valuable. I would actually go one step further, and I would suggest cornbread with cheese and jalapenos. You can't do too spicy because that will really mess with you, and you have to make sure that you know what you're doing with the cornbread to make sure it stays moist. Otherwise, you're going to have a second issue. But if you can hit them the right way, so I would actually suggest
Cottonmouth ×2.
Cottonmouth and fire breath. When you're really stoned, those aren't good things. But if you do it right, you're just like, oh, flavor. There's a certain degree of benefit to cooking and preparing all the stuff you want to eat when you're high beforehand in anticipation of it, and then put everything in random drawers. So as you get high and start looking for food, you find random stuff. It is a very fun experience. I was
going to say, like, another thing, my neighbors are from South America, and they're one of their go-to drinks in the summertime. They have two, actually. One of them is you get any kind of beer, you drink it halfway down, you fill it back up with Orange Crush. It is so refreshing in the summer heat.
That sounds good.
The other one is Coca-Cola and red wine.
So a lot of people have been saying this, and apparently it's a very quick way to anger Italians, which I'm always for.
Yeah, man, let's put pineapple on our pizzas. Fuck them.
I mean, listen, pineapple on pizza and Coke with our wine, and be like, That's a music video by Lonely Planet. It's just to put Italians in their place. Be like, you thought you were great, but now we have pineapple and pizza and cola and a red wine. Suck it. You know, like I think that's reasonable.
Degeneration X style, like full on suck it. Yeah.
But your underwear would just be a slice of Hawaiian pizza, just like pointing downward. I feel like that would work. Coca-Cola is the national flag of Cayenne. If you say so. Higher I get, the less I eat. I don't believe you, Fatso.
I can get behind that. I smoke a lot of weed, and I'm actually not the munchy guy when I get really high. I'm more like, oh wow, I'm really trapped in my head now. Where do I go?
See, this is the problem is that I like to just eat because I'm fat. So when I get high, it's like I could probably eat an entire lasagna instead of just 2 pieces, and it just gets really bad from there. Gotcha. That's why I have to get high on an empty stomach. So when I do eat, I just eat once and then stop. Because if I've eaten and then I get high, then I'm like, oh, I'm going for meal number 3, 4, and 7, and it's not. It's kind of like on a hot day when you drink a perfectly cold beer, and then you realize it tasted like you need to now have 7 more. You know, like that. That's how food is for me.
And your wife's nagging, and you're like, man, this beer tastes like domesticated barn.
Exactly. That's basically how that works. Victoria doesn't drink, and she's like, I want to try Coke with red wine. Oh, Jesus. Thanks a lot for that, Reagan. That's good.
Victoria, you're welcome. Enjoy.
You should try Blue Lotus if it's legal where you are. Get some chopped Blue Lotus, leave it soaking in wine, then drink it weeks later, ancient Egyptian style. I mean, now I need to.
Wait a second. Aren't the ancient Egyptians dead? So is that like, this poison? Are we going to die if we drink
basically poison. Victoria said the ratio is 95% Coke and 5% red wine. It is not going to be, and I'm going to get you all liquored up there, Boozy.
Okay. Interesting. I think the beer to orange crush thing seems more like organic to each other.
If you really want to enjoy it, also drop a shot of tequila in there, and it will blossom into a night of regret. For sure.
Stop talking about booze. I'm gonna throw laying in bed.
What, for the wine or for the beer? Which one?
For the beer.
For the beer. If that's the case, is that like a Mexican car bomb instead of a?
Yes. No? Yes. Yeah. It's called the Cartel Wizard. No, I don't know.
Jesus.
Listen, did I tell you I went to a bar and ordered an Irish? So okay. When I used to go to Lodge regularly, there was an Irish pub that was close by, and we would always go there. And then, like, somebody would buy a round, somebody buy another round, and then somebody would be like, hey, anybody else feel like a car bomb? And that's when everything went south. Because then we would start buying rounds of car bombs. And then it was who would last longest.
Car
and
bombs
usually,
don't mess around, man.
Car bomb. Well, after like 7 car bombs, you go, this might have been a mistake, and you're kind of going, I'm gonna have to hang out in my car for like 3 hours. Shit, unless somebody has some cooking, and then you're good. It's fine. It's no problem. That's like, listen, there's a way around everything. That's fine. Let's get into bar fights. I don't like to get into bar fights because what I would do is I just grab people and use them as a weapon and start hucking people into things. It's not people. Proprietors do not enjoy that.
My best. I remember the best bar fight I was ever in. I remember this guy shoulder checked me while I was just walking, and then he goes, "You want to fight?" I go, "You go practice bleeding outside for 5 minutes, and I'll come finish you off." So I literally goes outside immediately, and I finish my drink, and I go outside. Him and a buddy are waiting for me, and they want to fight. So the first thing I do is I get right next against my back foot, my pivoting foot. I put it right against a brick wall. And I was waiting for one of them to just swing a haymaker at me, and I ducked it, and he broke his hand on the wall, and then I punched him in the face, and he was done. And then his other buddy just sees his buddy like with a broken hand crying on the ground. He goes, "Oh no!" And I just smashed him in the face. And then I ran because I didn't want the bouncers to come after me. But like I remember like feeling like a fucking G after that one, man. I was like, don't fuck with me, bud.
That is a fantastic. I always find, no one ever takes me up because people are like, "Oh, you want to go?" And I'm like, "I'd love to." And they're like, I rescind my offer. And I'm like, "Oh."
That's the thing I find nowadays. Like I remember like 20 years ago. Yeah, I know I'm giving my age a little bit here, but like 20 years ago, you looked at the guy the wrong way at a bar, you were gonna get into a fight. And I find like nowadays, like I see people like there definitely is bar fights, but like I find like I don't know, maybe I'm just like too old. They don't like the last time I almost got into a bar fight was a 73-year-old like woman who was being an absolute ass. And I was like, can you stop being a cunt and get out of the bar? And then she was like, you called me a cunt. I was like, well, I really shouldn't have because you actually lack the depth and the warmth of one. So, and then it just spiraled right out of control.
Oh, no.
Like
That sounds about right.
stool. She tried to like hit me with the stool, and then the patrons are like, it was absolute pandemonium. And this is like a Thursday afternoon.
See, what's interesting is like like with my students, fights in school when I was a kid, most of the time they were kind of heat of the moment, right? But with them, they'll like text each other and be like, all right, behind the whichever building after school.
So weird.
And then, but what will happen is that like, that goes around the school pretty fast. And then someone inevitably goes, hey, there's going to be a fight back here after school.
Yeah. Those are called snitches, and they deserve to be put in their place. Dirty bitches.
Well, it's not like, I don't know. It depends, because it's mostly like they go back there and then someone is back there and they're like, okay, I guess we can't.
Well, I mean, the difference between like you're in California, so if anything, they're probably gonna have guns. don't want to sound like don't want to sound like Canadian stereotypy, but like,
the dumbest thing that's happened in our school weapons wise was somebody like set off a firecracker on the last day of school last year. And it's like, and the kid got expelled, and it's like 12 more hours and you wouldn't have been in trouble. You could have set that firecracker off anywhere, but you set it off in school because you're an idiot.
Yeah, basically. So. Also, Victoria, that's a fair hint. We learned you shouldn't order an Irish car bomb.
Yes, you should not.
They get very uncomfortable. Idea. I was like, an Irish car bomb, and everyone stopped and looked at me, and I'm like, do you guys not have that here? I'm pretty sure you do. And everyone's like,
we call it something else.
Okay, do you guys not know how to make it? It was nobody liked it. I loved it, but no.
I think nowadays people are too busy staring down at their phones for a fight. Well, when they coordinate through the phone, that's how that happens.
It seems like the shorter the guy is, the tougher he tries to act tough.
Yeah.
And you know what? Listen, I've met little guys who can fight, and I'm like, you gotta just calm down. And they're like, well, you want to go? And I'm like, I've eaten sandwiches bigger than you, bro. Just calm down. That's when I have to pick out the big guns and make people.
I'm not in the mood.
It's kind of why we're like, I hate to say it, but like why, like when you're a big guy, you're just like I just remember being younger and my mom being like, no, you know you're a lot bigger than the other kids, and if you actually get mad and you swing, you're gonna hurt them. And like I had to learn that like growing up, because I was always bigger than the other kids. And then like when I see little people like fight, I feel like just like patting them on the head. It's like, it's okay. It's okay. You'll be.
That's
all
gonna
right.
make it worse.
Yeah, I know.
Listen,
I love when small guys, they get really mad and they're like, I don't want to mess with you. You're a lot bigger than me. It's like, thank you. Like I'm happy you understand that. I mean, like, there's small guys who I'm like, I don't want to fight this guy. This guy's ridiculous.
I've never had one of those, but yeah.
I also feel bad for like the freshman kids who are like bummed out that they're short. I'm like, just wait like 2 years. You'll be fine. Like, you're still growing. You'll be okay. Like, there's a kid who like went through his growth spurt between the beginning of the school year and like October. He's showing up, his pants are like down to his shins. I'm like, dude, get new pairs of pants. He's like, I know, I'm going this weekend. And then it was fine. But like, but like it's part of high school is when the growth spurt happens for the guys.
Listen, that is. So, Reagan, just so you understand too, I was in the same boat. My parents were like, never touch anyone ever, period. I ended up getting bullied. Well, I ended up getting bullied because I'm like, well, I'm not supposed to touch anyone. They're like, yeah, you're supposed to touch them if they touch you. And I'm like, you couldn't explain that to a child? Fucking, yeah. Why do little short skinny guys try?
Because also kids tend to like erase the gray areas on a lot of stuff and go, but you said this. I'm like, you forgot the rest of the everything. That sort of
they're fucking children. They don't know what gray areas are. They're like, that's a shadow or not shadow. Black, white, done. Simple.
Exactly. Right? Which is why you kind of have to wait to do that. Otherwise, like it's gonna get lost in the sauce, I think.
Listen, John, you know how many times I've had police officers like be like, hey, and I'm like, what? And they're like, oh, excuse me. And I'm like, yeah, don't, please don't. Let's calm down. I'm like, you have a gun. That doesn't matter. It's you need to get full of that empty fucking full thing before anything happens. This is little people who always aim for power. You're just like, please don't. I'm not trying to
honestly, like I was a strike. I was like I work Canada Post, and we were on strike, and we went to Ottawa.
Yeah,
and none of the cops around my size were like, they were really respectful. And then this short fucking cop just shoves me out of nowhere in front of like 300 people, and I'm literally trying to defuse like a riot literally from happening, and all the cops are like, oh fuck, no, like stand down, small man, stand down. Like,
is that like this is the problem? Is little guys always are like, I want to prove something, and you're like, you're gonna prove the wrong thing, friend. Don't do this.
Why?
It's just
what's the point? There's no point.
Well, that's like also at the same time, like even now, well, I've said this on stage where I'm like, I am now being in better shape and you know, arguably the best shape of my life. I'm like, I definitely want to fight somebody, but at the same time, I don't want to be an old person that gets his ass kicked by some young fucking 20-year-old pussy. And I'm like, oh, it's just because I'm old. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in any of that, right? But
the other thing too is I realized, like, yeah, you can be a young fit guy, but man, like a 50-year-old guy, like they got 30 years of like labor and strength on them, man. Like they hit you, they're gonna hit you hard, you know.
Well, I know that if I rumble, I'm like, I'm gonna punch you in the throat and then watch you suffocate. I'm like, I'm not gonna hit you in the balls, bro. I'm gonna grab your dick, rip it off, and shove it down your throat. I get one move per person. After that, I'm probably going to be too tired. Like that's, you know, so whoever comes up, I'm like, you're going to get really hurt. I don't really care.
I'm just glad I'm big and no one messes with me anymore. And that's where I'm at now.
When dealing with a short person, if they say the phrase, I am average height for the time, you're in for a bad time.
Wow.
Interesting.
This is, oh God. Okay, hold on. His horniness is contagious. I mean, God willing. I can understand. Oh, Dino walks into a bar in Pithos, Greece, like, hey, can I get a Turkish nuke? That's exactly what I would do. It's I also
crisis or what's the like
when it's all over the Aegean. You know what? Honestly, Alice, when you were like the worst thing we've had for weapons, I was definitely be like, somebody brought plutonium to the school. It's the States. It's weird. You know, eBay and yellow cake uranium. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's fine. Why did the shrimp salad chef change his name to Ray?
to get to the other side?
Gula. So no, Gula was on the show yesterday.
On Hammered and Cheese.
On Hammered and Cheese, and that's why, Reagan, you definitely do look like Cole. You're a Canadian version of Cole. That's fine. Congratulations. It's exciting. Sorry.
Y'all need to meet in person. He's right across the lake there. Like,
I mean, hey, listen, Reagan, you got a car in a couple days.
Yeah.
I'll take you to the States. We'll go have we'll do some serious time. It'll be fun.
What's even funnier is that Cole is like shorter than me. Even I'm 6'1", and he's so like that would be so funny. Like they look the same, but the height's different.
Basically we just made a bigger one in Canada. It's fine.
Yeah.
He's from Texas as well, but trust me, it may actually work. It's hilarious. You think the us is gonna do shit. Johnny, I don't know what the hell that said, bro, but your translator is off. I don't know.
You think the US is going to shit?
Oh, I mean,
as a Canadian, I feel like they're like, your government is bullying us, and we're like, why are you treating us like shit? We're like your biggest ally. We give you guys so much for nothing. Literally.
Yeah, I agree.
You guys are heated. You guys get water from us. You get electricity from us. You get oil from us at a
and lumber
on the dime, and then we do all this other stuff for you, and then we create steel, we create cobalt, we create all these things you guys need, and then you're like, fuck you guys. And like, I hate to say it, the last time that like any leader started putting tariffs on Canada was in the Great Depression. So are we reliving the Great Depression? Because like, I like, it's already really fucking expensive to live in Canada, and you're gonna make it even more. Like, I'm not a fan of the US right now because of that.
I agree. Reagan. I don't like what we're doing either. And if you watch our show, like 3 weeks ago now, the one with Casey Michelson,
and I'm fucking named after an American president. That's the part that gets
oh, fuck
me.
him.
I'm fucking named after an American president.
The worst
Literally,
American
if
president.
Mickey Mouse was the Republican president in 1986. Guess what? My name would have been Mickey Mouse. Okay, so yeah, guys, U.S. just do better.
Sorry. Yeah.
Hey.
Also, California, Oregon, and Washington are like kind of cool with the idea of joining Canada. Or I forgot to mention this. This happened, I think, a week and a half ago. But there was a petition from Denmark to like, let's buy California, and like it got hundreds of thousands of signatures. One of them was
a lot of people don't realize though, like California literally has more people than the whole population of Canada. Yeah. Like that's the one thing. So it's like if California became like
we got a lot to offer.
It would be like, all right, here's Canada times 2.
Yeah,
bro. Can you imagine?
Oregon and Washington? Wouldn't that be nice? You got like a nice like L-shaped thing going on.
Listen,
down the coast.
I'm just letting you guys know. If California comes, this is the exchange. Okay, we get tacos and guns. You guys get healthcare. Stop. Yeah. That's it. That's the mix. Okay, we get tacos and guns. You guys get healthcare and
indestructible monopoly money.
Yeah, that's also a benefit. You can't tear up Canadian money anymore.
Look, I'm
you can't even burn
like,
it.
I'm pretty sure there is now another stigma on the U.S. just like there was around the time of the Iraq War, where like you go abroad, they're like, ugh, fucking Americans.
I mean,
so
yeah. No. Don't get us wrong. Like I love people from the United States all day. I love Americans. Just not gone with your government right now. That's all.
Okay, but no one at any time in history should ever be a fan of any government, period. Let's be
unless you're from China government, good. Please don't hurt me.
That's
yes
fine.
And no. I don't know. I like having roads and education and healthcare and shit. Like
you make it sound like China doesn't have healthcare, education, and roads, bro. They have everything.
Dino, I mean, like when you said like anybody who's a fan of government, I mean like. I'm not against the idea of like a strong federal government paying taxes for infrastructure that I want. I'm not against that idea.
Just so you know,
that would be great.
Hey, infrastructure has been around for a very, very long time before taxes, income tax, and the stupidity of the White House. Trust me, all of that can be solved. Government is, if anything, the biggest problem for everybody. We're like floating around with short people today. I think this is very interesting. Maybe we can build an army. That'd be great. It's like 3 6-footers and a whole bunch of people under 5'5". It'll be great.
Did Atlas just smack talk about Iraq war vets? No, Joey. I smack talked the Iraq war, not the people, the war. And the
Jim,
reason
you're not wrong.
There.
Our lumberjacks are notoriously sexy. Trump is screwing his own people. Trump is screwing everything. 100%. I feel like there's more to it though. More American government is screwing America.
You. The Smoot Hawley Tariff Act 1930.
Yep.
That's
Thanks, Hoover.
Hey, hold on, listen, if we get into hold on. John is like, I fear the depression is coming. If it does, Reagan, are we going to start a prohibition booze run? You think you and I can handle it? I think we do.
Hey man, I don't mind being a rum runner again.
I mean, listen, I feel like that's
kind of a funny story. Like I grew up in the Maritimes, right? So one of my buddies who lived in Newfoundland, his dad used to be a rum runner. So there's a kind of a cool thing in Newfoundland. There's an island off of Newfoundland that's ran by France, the country of France. It's called Saint Pierre Miquelon.
Yeah.
So you can go over to Saint Pierre Miquelon and get a 40-ouncer of rum for like $5-10 back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
How much is it in Newfoundland? Probably like $40-50. So what they would do is they would fill their boats to the gills at night, and then they would drive it back across. They're like, man, if we got a rogue wave, literally the boat would capsize, like it would sink because we had it so full of rum. And like they knew, and like, man, the stories he told me like was so intense, man. Like he's like, oh yeah, he's like my dad took me rum running when I was 12 years old. So, and they'd sell that 40-ouncer on mainland in Newfoundland for like $40, and they were making hand over fist money. But like if they got caught, everything was confiscated, the boat, the house, everything. Like once they figured out you were rum running, like you were the mafia. So
I
yeah,
look
if you want to
forward
do
to it.
some rum running across, like I wouldn't mind slinging
I
some
am.
Sleemans down to the States, you know.
Hey, listen, we go booze one way, guns the other. I'm in.
There you go. Yeah,
We'll just do okay.
might as well, right? Like,
I mean, it's about that you guys also sent the best moves up during Prohibition, and maybe that's what Donald thinks America is. I mean, listen, that's fair. We're everyone's getting Southern comfort for Christmas. That's how do
I'm
Canadians
just
have
saying,
the
the
time to
reason
do
why
things for
prohibition was put in was because a whole bunch of angry women who couldn't vote. So I don't know, man. Like,
they're not going to vote very soon, so that's fine. Yeah, back to when times were good, right, Atlas?
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Atlas hates it when I say that women don't deserve the vote. It's fine. My voice to text isn't working very well. You guys sent the best booze whiskey. That's true. Yeah, no. Listen, I think this is send me to Canada. Come on, man.
It's
your way
all
into
right.
Canada.
It's all right.
Would like our tax program as far as being able to write off interest from home loans. I mean, there are ways to do it up here as well.
Honestly, Canada, like literally, like a lot of people from the States don't realize, like Canada is a lot of people use Canada to clean money. Like our tax program in Canada is literally meant for people like big businesses to rape and pillage profits and not pay tax. So like literally Canada's a tax haven for a lot of like super rich conglomerates, millionaires, billionaires, because they can literally like put it in like offshore companies down like in the Caribbean and they won't get any tax. Like all the billionaires in our country, they literally figured out how to evade taxes. And like the Maritimes is a prime example. Like if you look in like Newfoundland or like New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, like the two main big people out of there are the Irvings, who do all the gas, all the wood, all that, and they own so much land. They actually they're one of the biggest private landowners in Canada and the US. They own pretty much all of Maine, and like they literally live off of tax evasion.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Good times. Listen, we can only hope for those times. Jim, I feel personally attacked. I think the California Highway Patrol is larger than the Canadian military. I mean, yes, but we are very talented and used to running in snow. So
I was just gonna say, like, you guys have a great military, but don't mess with JTF2. That's like Canada's special forces, and they literally make American special forces like the American special forces. Like, man, those guys are fucking elite.
No, the JTF2 is known as the best special forces in the world. That's because the only reason is because they can do everything and in the snow. Boom.
I remember a Canadian, or actually why our military is so fierce is what I've been told by. I actually met a colonel of the United States military. You guys are the kings of disorder and chaos. Like you guys run chaotically. We don't run in order. We run chaotically ordered. So you throw us in a shitty situation, we're gonna figure it out, hell or high water. So
so just so you know, if you're like, I'm going to Canada because I don't like this country anymore, and you see those signs that say welcome to Canada, we don't mean you. Just so you know, we mean other people. Just to be very clear. People actually, you know what? This is a good point. We can also do prescription drugs. It's not a bad idea. People standing on the banks of the St. Lawrence River on Earth's side, I was doing our side, sending over cheap American liquor, prescription Canadian drugs back. I mean, listen. We're going to have an army of drones just shipping and receiving across the border.
You know what? That guy literally just gave me a new thing. Like, we could totally do running via drone, and we won't get, like, if they take our drone away, whatever, we'll just get another drone. Like, we're not going to get caught. I'm liking this.
So the difference is the billionaires in America try and keep it domestic, and they can make a lot more. But the problem is when they go offshore, they essentially play zero. Whereas here you would pay more. So it's the billionaires in America can't leave America. That's the problem. As soon as they do, all hell breaks loose. That's why it doesn't work. Yes, they do. Who on the panel has been to the Canadian Virgin Islands? I have not.
Been to the American ones.
They're definitely not virgin anymore. I'll tell you that. That's fine.
Anyway, Reagan, thank you so much for coming on Generation Dan.
I appreciate it, man. I had a great time. Hope to come back again.
Absolutely.
Where can people find and follow you and all that good stuff?
I'm at Big Rizzy 77 on Instagram. I do stand-up comedy here in the Greater Toronto area and around. I will spread my roots soon, I'm sure. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I really had a great time.
Absolutely. This has been
That's a big underscore Rizzy, right?
Yeah, big underscore Rizzy 77.
Okay, done. Followed.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you.
No problem. You can follow us at Generation Dan wherever social medias are found, your Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, etc. Like and subscribe to the episode, to the channel. You can also follow me at Atlas Novack wherever great social medias are found, except for Twitter, because fuck that place. And let's see, my other podcast, or it's not a podcast anymore. It's a YouTube show, Nexus at Night, which is about Card Fight Vanguard. If that's not your bag, I get it. Dino?
Also, go fuck yourself. That was not him.
I know.
If you don't like his show, go fuck yourself. Anyway,
Yeah.
I am Dino the Genetic Marvel, everyone. You can find me everywhere social media exists. I might not even be there, but you'll find me. That's fine. I'm like that signal. I'm just around. Just look outside. But yeah, you can follow me. I am performing more in Toronto. I'm hoping to get some more stuff. We'll see. Maybe we can do a little tour this year across the states. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I'm doing all sorts of stuff. Also building more Lego, doing more stuff, unboxing things. I have a bunch of toys I have to unbox, everyone, and I'm sure you guys want to see that because we're all children, but that's fine. In the meantime, please like, subscribe. We have more shows tomorrow. We're going to have Life of Giants. Wednesday on Upside Down Studios is What the Fuck Wednesdays. Mondays, we are doing motherfucking Mondays where we kind of do a recap of what happened on the weekend, but that's going to be during the day. So make sure you check that out as well. But in the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. This is going to be uploaded on Friday. And if anyone needs a reminder, this is what Reagan looks like in real life. You can see him in person. But yeah, come check us out. And in the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your day. Later, everybody.
Bye, folks.
See ya.